So I got Quinton Peron here. What's up, Quinton? How's it going, man?
How's it going?
Yeah. So Quinton's on staff with us, and I'm excited to talk to you today, Quinton, because you are a unique individual in the sense that I feel like anytime I see you online or anywhere, we hear about you in class, and like you just have a smile on your face, and it just seems like nothing's gonna get you down. Is that the true Quinton, or is that nerves? Because I always smile when I'm nervous, but it seems like you're a genuine dude, always happy.
I just like to smile. I feel like it just makes the day go by faster. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I get nervous too, but I laugh. Like right now, I'm laughing a
But
little bit.
but do you get nervous? I mean, I've seen you on on big TV shows, and of course we're going to get into it in a little bit. I mean, you cheer for the LA Rams. I mean, that's a huge deal. I mean, getting in front of a million people. I mean, that's going to shake some people up.
I think if you are not nervous, there's a problem.
Uh
Yeah.
huh.
So I love it too much to not be nervous. So I always have those pregame jitters and just jitters when I'm performing anywhere or even talking in interviews and stuff. But
Yeah.
there's always a little bit of nerves, but you have to take that nerves and by pushing into excitement, if that makes any kind of sense.
Yeah,
So I'm
and I
excited
think.
to be here. It's a mindset.
Yeah, right. Well, I think too, being a dancer, we've always grown up thinking like I have to be perfect. I have to do everything right, and if I don't, then I've done a bad job, and I should feel ashamed. And it's all of these like self-conscious feelings that we go through. Have you ever had like a time in your career or your life growing up as a dancer where you felt that heaviness, and what'd you do to get away from that?
Definitely when I was younger, just breaking into the industry a little bit, that pressure of I have to be perfect was always on my shoulder. But as I'm getting older, I realize, I mean, everybody makes mistakes. And even while I perform on the field and everything, there's little counts that I forget. And I'm like, oh, shoot, the head was on the one and I definitely hit it on the one. But then you just laugh at it and you just know that, okay, next time I do it, I have to get it together. So
Right. Now, so I think that's something important, in class, we always tell our dancers, whatever happens, if you forget what you're doing, just freestyle, just keep going because usually the audience is not going to know. Now you're surrounded sometimes by 70,000 people. It's
yeah.
it's easy to feel like everyone just saw me, and I've made the biggest blunder ever. But that's really not the case. Would you agree?
I agree. I mean, as a dancer, you think it's the end of the world. As a choreographer, it is the end of the world. But but I mean, as a dancer, it's performances are learning opportunities, and the goal is to make sure that each performance you do, you get better and stronger with your mental and your like knowing your choreography. So
Yeah. Then what's I guess when you're teaching class, like kind of what's the advice that you give the dancers when because it's easy to pick out the nervous ones and be like, oh, they're freaking out right now, and you just want to be like, dude, it's gonna be okay. But how do you? What's your approach?
um, I'm a full out kind of guy. So whether your leg is down here or if it's up here, I want you to give 110%. You know what I mean? Because I'm coming in with all this energy. I want to make sure the energy is being reciprocated. I know sometimes when we get into like a new environment or you have a new teacher come in, it's there's the nerves are there. But at least for me, it's always a safe place. And I'm never looking for the dancer to be perfect and have all the counts because at the end of the day, this isn't competition choreography. This isn't choreography that's getting set on a stage that has to be perfect. I'm trying to get you to push out of your comfort zone. And
Yeah.
if you can at least push to that level, then we're making progress. So
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And it all goes back to feeling like to releasing that feeling of like I have to be perfect because none of us get on the airplane afterwards and we're like, oh, remember that one girl and she missed the second 8 count of our like, you know what I mean? Because I mean, I was notorious for blanking out. I mean, it happens. But I found that like as a student, the more it happened, the better it was in the long run because then I could learn how to deal with those nerves when they came up. Because it all kind of goes back to feeling like, am I enough? Do I deserve to be here? And I mean, the answer is a resounding yes.
And I always try to encourage my dancers that I need you to become an artist, whether that's you take the blank choreography that I just gave you and you fill it in with your own little colors, you know what I mean? But I don't want you to look like me. I want you to look better than me. And the only way you can do that is you take what I'm giving you and then add your own twist on it. And then all of a sudden you have your own dance. And I'm just sitting there like, oh, I made that? But
I
then
made
that too, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's a collaboration. And I really encourage dancers to give just as much as I'm giving so that way we really do make this end product of greatness. Hopefully.
Yeah. Who was it? So who was it that kind of inspired you to think like that? I mean, that you don't just all of a sudden wake up and feel like that. I mean, somebody had to push you in that positive direction.
Honestly, my kids at my studios that I teach, to be, if I'm speaking honestly,
Yeah.
I grew up doing all different styles. You know, I started as a hip hop dancer and then told myself I was never going to be a jazz dancer because putting your leg up was for girls. And all of a sudden, then 2 years later, I was like, oh,
Oh, I can do that.
Turn. So it all stems from me being versatile. So then I encourage my dancers to, I mean, I want you to be in my contemporary and jazz classes, even if you are a hip hop dancer. Because for me, my style is, I combine all of that, if that makes sense.
Right.
So the difference between like a hip hop and a contemporary may not just be the music, but it might just be a leg. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, it went from a hip hop piece to, oh, that was kind of a cool. I really focus on movement, if that makes sense. So,
yeah.
And I really try to push my dancers to stop thinking of themselves as just a hip hop, just a jazz, just a lyrical, because I feel like that categorizes you, and I don't like that because I consider myself a dancer, so I can do everything, and I love everything.
Yeah.
So if you put yourself in that box, then that's where you're gonna stay. But if you allow yourself to be open, then the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, no, you're so right. You know, I see that a lot. That feeling a lot with like break dancers and b-boys and b-girls. They're just, even if they're not trained technically. I've been on jobs before where you show up and they're like, "All right, cool, let's learn this choreography," and they at first they have no idea what they're doing. They're just going for it, but they're fearless.
Yes, and
you know. Yeah, so you got to take that first step. So then, who would you say is your inspiration? Like, I definitely understand the kids at your studio, but as a, when you were young, growing up, was it a teacher or was it a professional, perhaps on television or your studio?
I got into dance because I saw Twitch on So You Think You Can Dance. I think it was and I saw somebody who looked like me dancing, and then knowing he was a like crumper, you know what I mean? And all of a sudden I would see him in these jazz pieces, and I was like, oh shoot.
Yeah,
I can do that. And there's another dancer by the name of Will who was on the total opposite spectrum. He was the contemporary, the Alvin Ailey trained dancer, you know what I mean? And then he would kill it in the contemporaries with the beautiful leg and a penché and everything, and then kill the hip hop. So I was like, okay, hold on. Maybe I do have an outlet. Maybe I can try that. And then after that, I just dove in.
And you just dove, and it was all history. Yeah. Well, so that's cool. So then, and one thing you mentioned was like, you were like, I'm not gonna do other stuff because it's for girls or whatever. And I grew up in that kind of generation too, and thankfully now it's accepted. Everybody, it's an inclusive thing. Like finally, But I feel like you broke through another barrier too when you got to work with the LA Rams, or you're still working with them. I mean, that was a huge deal. You're the first dude to be on a cheerleading team with a professional football team in the NFL. That's big news, man.
No, it was intense, and I didn't even expect all of the support, to be honest, because I just wanted to dance with my friends, and I danced with these girls in high school and in college, and I'd even choreographed for some of them on various teams. So I was like, why can't I try this? So and then me and my teammate ended up being two of the first males in the NFL.
That's all. Well, and when you got on, it was like it was a win for all male dancers everywhere. We're kind of like, yes, yeah. So, but what I do want to know about, because and I feel like I see this when we're in studios, that a lot of times kids are nervous and they're scared, and what I want to do is Quinton's got his agent calling, so we're gonna let it go soon. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I mean, so did you face any adversity, like going, getting into the NFL, doing that whole deal, and then I mean, I don't know. I mean, because it's so new to everyone. I mean, was there any, like, what did you have to prepare yourself to go out there to take any sort of heat? I mean, I know that's kind of a real question, but.
We are in America, so free speech is a thing. And so of course you have the people that are a little more closed-minded, and they're like, well, we don't want to see you. We want to see the girls and the booty shorts and the crop tops. And I was like, well, the problem is that we as dancers are more than just the outfit we wear. So me being there now you can't look at them like that. You have to look at them for the talent. And I think that's what it made the NFL step up, especially dancer-wise. Like we had to step it up because it's not just a hair flip and a booty shake anymore. Now it's like we're actually dancing, and you have to watch us for our dancing, not just because we look good. I mean, we're in LA, so we have to play the part as well. We have to make sure.
Right. Yeah.
Great.
But I love that. I think that's an important thing to point out is that, I mean, because we do see, you do see a lot of people posting things online and things like that. And it's not about what you're wearing. It's about your talent. It really truly is about your heart, right? Getting out there and doing your thing. And I think that's an important lesson I think that America can learn, right? As we move forward as dancers, because everybody deserves to be respected when they walk out there, guys, girls only, guys only, whatever the situation is. We didn't just wake up and we're like, all right, cool, we're just going to learn this and go perform for people. Like, we actually care. And I think that's an important thing to. So have you had any other guys reach out to you being like, that's awesome, I'm going to be a cheerleader one day as well for the NFL?
Yeah. So the first year there was a couple guys throughout the U.S. that wanted to try out for various teams. As of now, there are 20 across the NFL.
Hey, that's awesome.
We have a Snapchat group message and everything. We keep
They're gonna put you in the Hall of Fame for that, man.
But I think it's just so awesome. That's something that me and my teammate, we didn't come together and try to start something. We just auditioned. We didn't even know we didn't know each of us were auditioning. If that makes sense. Right.
Yeah, I got you.
Even though I was coming. Then all of a sudden it ended up being this thing that now guys can step into their purpose again. You know what I mean? It's more than just, because for us, I mean, it's either you do the Britney or Beyonce kind of tours, which that's still subjective because I know Beyonce doesn't hire that many men. You know what I mean? So going industry-wise, it's either you do that or there's nothing else. You know what I mean? Or you get lucky with the Broadway contract. You know what I mean? But other than that, like, why can the girls have so many outlets? There's so many outlets to perform, and I was like, why can't we do this?
Yeah.
So that's the whole purpose of trying to open up that door in that conversation.
Dude, that's trailblazing, man. That's awesome. That's awesome. So what is your advice, I guess, for your dancers that you give, or when you go teach around the country, that hey, I want to dance for Beyonce one day. I want to do this. I want to do that. What's kind of what would be your nutshell advice that they need to take away from your class specifically, maybe?
Well, I'm very real with my dancers. So Beyonce hires a certain look, because I believe in being honest, but also trying to cherish and keeping that dream alive, if that makes any kind of sense. Mm-hmm. Beyonce hires a certain look. Britney Spears hires a certain look. Ariana Grande hires a certain look. And that varies from Lady Gaga or Madonna, you know what I mean? So you have to make sure that you fit that look and you do your research. The kind of, you excel at the style that they're auditioning in, the stuff that they do in their videos and their tours, because at the end of the day, when you audition, you need to make them feel like you are already a part of it. You mean, like, I've been doing this. You just have to see me. So that's what it should feel like. But anything's possible. Literally, like I didn't expect any of this. So there is no goal or dream that's too big. If you want to do it, make it happen. Make sure it's in your focus, I guess. Put your blinders on. But no, I mean, like I said, anything's possible. You just got to put in the work.
Cool. Well, I got one more question for you, and then I'll let you go. So you teach for us a number of different things, jazz and hip hop and contemporary and musical. You can do pretty much
whatever you want.
Pretty much everything. So I guess when you go into a studio, obviously there's those nerves and, a new teacher, and you hit on it earlier, but what do you want? What is one thing that you want these kids to bring? I mean, you said it earlier about just bringing the energy, but is there any other advice you want to kind of give your students before you walk in? Like, if there's one thing they could know that you didn't have to say to them before you started teaching, what would it be?
Speak.
Gosh.
Oh my gosh. I can't stand it when you walk into a room and you're like, what's up, y'all? How's it going, Mr. Q? And they're like,
yeah.
You got it.
You hate me. Okay.
I'm nervous just as much as you're nervous. You know what I mean? Like, we're all human. But I came in here speaking, so I need you to at least respond with a hi. And it goes a long way. You know what I mean? If I walk into a class, they may be all beginners, but if they're like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, we're going to have fun today. And all of a sudden, the energy, we're all in it.
Yeah.
But if you have to kind of pull, and then on top of that, I'm trying to teach you choreography. And it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. And you're like, just please get there. Like at hour 45, you're there with me. So let's get there at minute 45. You're there with me. Get there at minute 0.
Not even a minute.
Yeah.
They're walking in to be you need to be in it. Tunnel vision. Put your blinders on.
Yeah. Exactly. So I think
much better.
Exactly, and I think that probably studio owners and teachers that are watching this right now are like,
Yeah.
Rejoice. We agree. Yeah. So that's great advice. And so Quinton, tell me a little bit about the styles you teach, kind of like, what we're going to get from your class or
Oh, awesome.
classes.
Well, I teach everything from hip hop, jazz, contemporary, lyrical, turns and jumps, stretch conditioning. And now that I know a lot of dancers either want to go and compete in the high school or collegiate rank, or even come to the NFL or NBA, I teach kind of like a pro style. So it's more sharp motions, think kind of palmy, but stuff that I would do on the field, or you guys would do on the court or whatever. So just getting ready for that next level. Once you're done with the studio, I can get you to the next stepping stone.
Next level, practical application, man. You know how you're always like, what in school? You're like, why am I learning calculus when I'm never going to use it? This is the opposite. You know that you're going to use the stuff.
I know what it takes. I mean, I choreographed for like 15 high schools and colleges, so I know what these dance teams want and everything. So if you want to go into the dancing world or even pro industry or whatever,
yeah. So is there one thing that kind of like ties all of those together, whatever route you're going to take? I mean, is it just your boilerplate hard work, or I mean, what's like maybe one thing you see that dancers could work on that are going the Palm route or going the high school, the collegiate team route, that they could prepare themselves for, like to focus on when they're in class?
Versatility,
for
sure. Nowadays, if you're speaking about high school or college, it's hip hop focused, Palm and jazz focused. You know what I mean? And a lot of dancers are like, well, I'm just a jazz dancer, I'm just a lyrical dancer. Well, that's not going to work. If you want to dance at the next level, you need to be able to do everything. And especially if you take it an upper level and get to the pro NFL or NBA route, it's like one routine I'll have would be something to Carrie Underwood, you know what I mean? And then the next routine to be Little John, you know what I mean? So it's like you like you have to like
gotta be able to change up
everything. Exactly. And everything's different. So
that's awesome. So that's what we're getting from you, Quinton, is just a variety, and that's where it's at. Is it not too much focus on one thing? It's a balance, like, because the more versatile you are, the more balanced you are, the more marketable you are, right?
Yep, literally.
And your path is gonna, your mind is gonna kind of open up to new movement, which is great. Which is what you said before, is you work in movement. You don't think about it as dance.
Like, let your technique speak for it. Train in that. Get into those ballet classes. You know what I mean? Get the like straight feet pointed, but then once the basis is there, then you can start moving in different ways, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, that was a cool way to get into that battement instead of going all change up, like you know what I mean? Yeah. So just being able to get into your technical elements in a more surprising way.
Right. Well, and that's the best part too, when you have that light bulb, right? It goes off and you're like, oh. Yeah.
All I do when I teach is experiment, especially with my kids. I'm like, all right, you guys, I like this song. Don't have a combo. Let's experiment. And then it's literally, what does it look like if you take this arm and try this? Oh, I love that. Okay, let's put the leg right. So that's all I do is just
good
like a narrow situation. So
well, and that frees your dancers up to feel free to move, as opposed to being worried that if I move this direction, I'm going to be made fun of, or I'm going to be ridiculed. Because they don't see us choreographing dances when we're at our home or our apartment or our house or whatever. They don't see us being like, and then saying, that was terrible, we're not going to do that step again. Because, as teachers, I think that might be part of the barrier that we have, is that as students, we're like, oh, look, they just did it perfect every single time. But no, we've been working on that. So, and it's a vulnerable position to be in a classroom to say, like, we're going to watch you work through this to make it great. But
and that's what I've learned from beginning years of teaching to now. It's like that process is what needs to be shown. Because I also I don't want to create the best dancer. I want to create the best choreographer. I want my kids to get that fire that lit, like that was sparked in me. And I want that to get passed down to them. And it's kind of working already. I already have kids that are now, like, they used to be my assistants. Now we're choreographing like routines against each other. And I'm like, oh, this is exciting. You're getting there. You're not but you're there. I lit the spark. So
yeah, you lit the spark. Man, Mr. Q, you're the man. Thank you for letting me chat with you. And I can't help but not smile when I'm talking to you, man. And we'll see you on a big stage, man, or the big screen or the big field. One of the three.
All of them. That's the goal.